Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to noon Central. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild to wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at texastruckworks.com. This is the award-winning car talk show In Wheel Time, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Today, coming to you from the confines of Studio A in Houston, Texas, USA. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Jeff Zekin's in the corner where he needs to be. So glad that you could join us today. We've got a great interview coming up if we can get him on, and we're going to get to that here in just a second. By the way, I wanted to remind everybody that if you've not listened to our podcasts, please do so. And we have an array of ways that you can join us on our podcasts. And I was going to dig out that list if I can find the list. I know that I have it here somewhere. But I did want to mention that. I can't find it. Why is that?
Well, while you're looking, Honda is now introducing their 11th generation Civic for 2021. So they're coming out with some new vehicles and some new rides. Mercedes-Benz E-Class was named Motor Trend's Car of the Year. I thought that was. I'm just looking for filler while you're looking for what.
I found what I need to do.
Then shut up and let you go.
No, not at all. I mean, you're part of this thing. I just wanted to let everybody know that the show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. And we got a couple of other ones. Amazon, Mars.
Who else?
Mars.
I'm sorry.
Amazon.
I'm talking to the doctor here.
Okay. Amazon, and we've got another
Amazon
one.
Music, Pandora.
Pandora. Those are the two I haven't.
That's the two new ones we've added.
Okay.
We'll write them in there for you.
All right, please do, yeah, because you know me. If it's not written down, it ain't going to happen. Do we have the doc?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir, we do.
Well, I've been looking forward to this. Matter of fact, I talked to Conrad about this before the show even started this morning. Dr. Mahncke earned his Ph.D. at University of California, San Francisco, in the lab where lifelong brain plasticity was discovered. He leads a global team of more than 400 brain scientists engaged in designing, testing, refining, and validating the computerized brain exercises found in the Brain HQ app from Posit Science, where he serves as the CEO. Well, Doctor, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much. Thanks for getting up out there on the left coast to join us this morning. We really appreciate it.
I'll apologize in advance. Thanks for reminding me that you guys are out here working hard on a Saturday. You'll be happy to know I wasn't sleeping in. My daughter has a robotics competition today.
Oh, cool.
So I had driven her and her robot out to someone's yard to have their competition today, and then was reminded by you that we were also chatting. So thank you.
Well, thank you. So the story is there are more than 44 million drivers. 44 million drivers over the age of 65. And I'd hate to admit it, but I am in that category. Second only to newly licensed drivers in crash rates, and drivers age 75 and older have the highest death rate due to crashes. And so I know that you've got a lot of science going on currently, but you have also discovered that education classes don't necessarily help when it comes to trying to lower this crash rate among older adults. So where do we go? What do we do?
How do we get better?
How do we get better? Help us.
We get better. Yeah, the first step to getting better is to understand what's going on. You can't fix a problem unless you've diagnosed it. And as car guys, you probably know that better than just about anyone. And so, hey, as a scientist, you can look at this and say, hey, what happens? Why is it that as we get older, crash risks and crash rates go up? And, it's not because people forgot how to drive, right? I don't think there's too many people out there in their 60s or in their 70s who are thinking, I just don't remember how to use my turn signals anymore. Or, hey, how does that whole highway merge thing again? That's not really what's going on. In fact, older drivers probably have more experience and wisdom around driving than younger drivers do. And if you've ever driven with a teenager, I'm sure you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
But something does happen as we get older. It turns out that what science shows us, and in fact, how our brain processes information. And thanks to some fantastic work done by some colleagues of mine at universities, Drs. Carleen Ball and Dan Ronker and Jerry Edwards, what they sorted out over the past 20 years is that as we assess, what we see gets narrower. And they describe it that as we get older, on the average, our vision becomes like looking through a soda straw. We're no longer noticing things in our peripheral vision very quickly and accurately. So think about when you're driving, right? You might be typically looking at the car ahead of you, right? Maybe it's going to put on its brakes. Maybe it's going to turn. You got to pay attention, right? But if you don't notice things that are in your peripheral vision quickly and accurately, you're going to be at higher risk because maybe a ball going to roll onto the street while you're driving through your suburban neighborhood, or maybe you're going to be at an intersection and you need to notice that someone's about to jump a stop sign. And that's what's happening, is that brain information processing, particularly in our visual system, gets slower and less accurate. And so we just don't notice as many things going on in the world around us. And that's what leads people to end up in riskier situations, even though they know how to drive.
So what is it that we can do as older adults to help improve that
tunnel vision?
Yeah, the tunnel vision, the soda straw effect.
Yep, that's right. So it turns out that these same people who diagnosed the problem came up with a really novel form of brain training that actually can help just about anyone improve the speed and accuracy of their visual system and help them see over a wider field of view. So you're not looking through a soda straw, you're maybe looking through a wine barrel or something nice and helpful like that.
Yeah.
So they built a computerized brain training exercise, and we've worked with them to bring these out into the world. And the way these brain exercises work is that you're trained to split your attention and notice things in your peripheral vision. So the way these exercises work is you do them on a computer, and you're typically looking at your screen, and you're asked to look at the center of your screen, and you have to notice, you have to tell the difference between two things that appear on your screen that are pretty hard to tell the difference between. Like, let's say a little car and a little truck, and they appear very quickly. So you really have to pay attention to the center of your screen in your peripheral vision, like a road sign or something. Focused on the center, but you have to retain enough of your attention that you can see in your peripheral vision. So you can train on a task like this. And if they're not doing too well, you can make it slower, so it finds exactly the right level of challenge for you. And then you can make it difficult in all kinds of crazy ways, right? You can lead to a lot of clutter and distractions in your peripheral vision, so it's hard to see what's going on out there. And then by training on this over a course of about 10 hours, over about 2 months, you can make people's brain information processing much, much better.
Is this all on Brain HQ?
Yeah, it is all on Brain HQ. So Brain HQ is a platform for brain training that we developed at Posit Science. And then when we heard about these fantastic results from these university-based researchers showing that they had also developed a way to improve brain function and vision this way, we worked with them to bring those exercises over onto Brain HQ.
And is there a fee to gain access to this information?
Well, anyone can sign up and try it for free. If anyone wants to try it, they can just go to World Wide Web, www.brainhq.com. And if you register, you'll get a free exercise per day just to sort of see if you like it and if it's for you. And then to get full access, including the driving training course, which includes those exercises I was just talking about, that's meant to be pretty inexpensive. It's about $8 a month when you subscribe on an annual basis.
Yeah.
And then actually we work with about 250 libraries across the country where they make it available at no cost, just like checking out an electronic library book. So if you use your library's electronic information services, you might check with them to see if they have Brain HQ available as well.
I want to delve into the science behind this and how you discovered, first of all, that us older folks have this issue.
Yeah, there's two threads of science that kind of came together, like a braid, I suppose. One thread of science is it just tells you the value of basic research that the National Institutes of Health fund. And, I know every year there's some weird jokes out there around, hey, why are they funding this crazy research or that crazy research? But, some of it really does turn up aces over time. So, back in the 80s, there were scientists who, weren't really thinking about aging and weren't really thinking about driving. They were just thinking around, hey, how does attention work in the brain? How does the brain split its attention between two different things? And they developed this divided attention test, they called it back then, which kind of worked like this. You had to see something in the center of your vision and notice something in your peripheral vision. And, they were scientists. They built the test. They measured people. Some people were good. Some people were bad. And, usually when scientists do that, they test all their friends and all the students in their lab at first. But then they did something super interesting, which is they tested a bunch of older people as well, or people in their 60s and 70s. I don't even really want to say older because I'm in that range myself these days. But, that was kind of innovative because they had to go out and recruit some other people. And what they saw was that although there was a lot of variability, some people were still excellent, some people were bad. On the average, as people got older, their abilities on this task got worse. And that was the first breakthrough to say, wow, this isn't something that, people stay good at their entire life. It's something we can measure and we can see they get worse. And that led to an explosion of research where they tested people, for example, and showed that, hey, if you're worse at this task, kind of regardless of your age, you're more likely to crash over the next 5 years, which was a huge breakthrough. Because, as you may know, if you go to the DMV and take a vision test, that vision test doesn't really actually predict that much about whether you're going to crash or not. It's something the DMV likes to do. Everyone feels good. But as a scientist, its predictive value is not that great.
Yeah.
So what these researchers showed was that this test of divided attention was, in fact, a really accurate predictor of crash risk. And that led to the question of, well, can we make people better at it? If this is what seems like it influences crash risk, what if you got better? And so that led to this second stream of research, which is that, hey, in the old days, people thought that the brain was kind of like a computer chip, right? It was a bunch of wires in your head and they carried electricity and it processed information. And then frankly, like everyone who's had a computer, it just wears out over time and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. In our world, we can get a new computer when we want one, but we cannot get a new brain when we want one.
Like when you store lots of data in your computer, sometimes you lose it. You can't go back and retrieve it easily. So
Yep.
is that what you're saying? Your second line of study has figured out how to reconnect your brain to...
That's exactly right. You said it perfectly. So, what everyone knows these days is, in fact, the brain is not like a computer. And every time we say the brain is like a computer, it gives us the wrong idea about how the brain works. The brain is actually, I know this is going to amaze you guys, but it's a part of your body. And what I mean by that is, hey, it's a biological organ, just like everything else, just like your liver, just like your stomach, just like your muscles. And what that means is it's constantly adapting and changing itself in response to what we ask it to do. And if we ask it to do, if when we retire, what we ask our brain to do is catch up on a lot of I Love Lucy episodes, well, our brain's going to kind of rewire itself and optimize itself for sitting on the couch and watching TV. Now, that's not a very helpful brain, as it turns out.
But you know how to say Vitamita Vegemint.
There will be a few things you are the world's expert at. There's no doubt about it.
And that's
when
one
they're
of
looking
them,
for the Wikipedia editor for I Love Lucy, you're the guy. But if we ask our brain to do something to rewire itself in a helpful direction, if we ask our brain to, work on becoming faster and more accurate, well, then we're going to, rebuild those brain connections. So this revolution was called the brain plasticity revolution, because scientists got to have a weird name for everything, I guess. And what it taught us was, hey, the brain is constantly rewiring, and that's in every neuroscience textbook. So those two things came together. Here's a way we can measure whether someone has good or bad brain information processing. We know it's related to auto crash risk. What if we developed an exercise based on this idea of brain plasticity, based on this idea of rewiring how the brain works? Could we improve that measure of visual speed and attention? And it turned out the answer was absolutely yes. you can make people much better at that. And it doesn't even take that long, about 10 hours of training over the course of 2 months.
Wow.
And then when those researchers looked after people had done that training, they actually saw 50% reduction in at-fault crash risks. And that's probably because people were more aware of things in their peripheral vision. You mentioned at the beginning of our chat, that, hey, older adults, not only are they at higher crash risk, we know, but they also get into more dangerous crashes, right? They're injured more. So forth. It turns out that older adults are around 10 times as likely to have an intersection crash as a younger adult. That means they come into the intersection and they don't notice something in their peripheral vision and they get T-boned. Yep. So from a brain perspective, why is that happening? Well, I think you probably know now, right? They're in that soda straw vision and they just don't see that a truck is about to jump a stop sign or even just come through. So by making their brains faster and better this way, what that science showed is they reduced at-fault crashes, like going into an intersection at the wrong time, by about 50. The science has come together out of something that was probably pretty obscure when it was first invented.
Right.
So, Doctor, what are we going to, how much time does it take to do this exercise every day?
Yeah, so the studies have done it in a couple different ways, right? So some of the studies have been, hey, do it twice a week for an hour a day. Some of the studies have been doing, do it 4 or 5 times a week for maybe 20 or 30 minutes. But, it's a little bit like aerobic exercise, right? If your doctor tells you to get some exercise, you're probably hearing you need to go out and walk or, be on the treadmill or something for, maybe 90 to 120 minutes a week. And that's what we're usually aiming for in these brain training studies as well. So 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week and aim for, maybe 2 hours of total brain training or a bit more than that per week.
Sounds great.
That is enough, honestly, to rewire your brain.
Brain HQ. And there's other stuff on there, too, I noticed when I was poking around yesterday.
Yeah, no, we've done a ton of research. There's more than 24 brain training exercises on there, and they cover everything from vision to hearing to processing speed, attention, memory. And actually, over 100 published papers on brain training works, improves cognitive function.
Well, we've posted Brain HQ up on our Facebook page, and we'll tell people to put in-wheel time in the promotion line, and that way you know how much traffic you get from us.
We look forward to it. But the thing, the reason we founded Posit Science and we work with these scientists is, when I joined the company, it was founded by my PhD advisor, Mike Mersick. And what he said was, Henry, we've helped a lot of rats and we've helped a lot of monkeys get better brains in the lab. It's about time to help some people. And that's kind of what gets us.
And those in-wheel time people down in Houston need all the help that they can get.
So can Brain HQ help people with electric vehicle range anxiety? Probably not.
I don't know if you heard all of that.
Oh.
Doctor, can this help with my range anxiety in my electric vehicle?
In all seriousness, there are some studies showing that this kind of brain training improves brain resilience and as a result lowers certain measures of anxiety. But range anxiety is pretty specific. So I think we're just looking for the geniuses at Tesla to build us some better batteries and take care of that problem.
Dr. Henry, it is great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Again, the website is Brain HQ. And let's keep in touch and let's chat again sometime soon.
I'd love to do it. It's fun talking with you folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Henry Mahncke, CEO of Posit and Brain HQ. Hey, you got something ugly or nice to say about our car show? Well, we want to hear all you have to say about it. Shoot us an email, info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for This Week in Auto History. And I know that you have lots of sheets of paper there, and one of them has auto history on it.
Yeah, well, in 1902, the first working V8 engine was patented. Did you realize that?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. I just thought that was really pretty cool information. And it was actually patented by, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher this poor
Mr.
guy's name.
V8?
No, a French engine designer, Leon Marie Joseph Clement Levasseur. I actually practiced Levasseur, and I know I butchered it.
He sounds like, never mind.
But this is his
V8
like
design.
some sort
of gynecologist or something.
Oh my gosh. This is his design right here, picture of it, and it was actually developed for airplanes. And you look at that, there's no cylinder head to it. He created the cylinder with the head all together, right, kind of like an old Offenhauser engine. And then in 1913, Ford Motor Company introduced the continuous moving assembly line. And Ford's innovation lowered the amount of time it took to build a Ford Model T from 12 hours to 2 hours and 30 minutes, which is kind of why they built 15 million of them when they built Model T. So it really helped the efficiency of Ford's production line to sell more cars at a lower price than their competitors. You got to remember, back in the day, a Model T was, $800, $600, $800. They really weren't very expensive by comparison. And then in 1915, John Hertz, I don't think it's Hertz of Hertz Rental, founded the original yellow cab taxi company service in Chicago.
That's not it.
No, that's the Model T. So the next picture up will be, and it's a black and white picture, so I can't show you the yellow cab. But yellow cab became... Oh, boy. We butchered that one. So that's on this day, Ford's first production B-24 Liberator bomber rolled off the assembly line in 1942 at Ford's Willow Run assembly plant. And Ford, over the 3 years of producing these B-24 Liberators, made over 8,500 of those bombers, and pretty much used in the European theater. And then you'll see a picture. The next, hopefully, we'll see.
You don't know that. You don't know the reason.
Let's flip to the next picture.
Not now.
Yeah, So that's one in the air, and quite a scary thing for the Axis as they were flying over, dropping everything on them, and definitely one of the planes that helped win World War II. And let's see what's next before I start talking about it. In 1960, this week, was the first International Scout all-terrain vehicle rolled off the assembly line at International Harvester's Fort Wayne, Indiana assembly plant. So this was out, 5 years before the Mustang, 4 years before the Bronco was out. The Scout was out 4 years before the Bronco was out. So, and back then it was just a little four-cylinder, but it was four-wheel drive, pretty functional farm truck.
I wonder how much that would be worth today.
Oh, probably, I would assume quite a bit.
Yeah, they're pretty expensive. I've looked for a couple of them down at the beach.
And then let's see what picture pops up next, since we've gotten them a little bit out of sequence. Okay, so in 1971, General Motors recalled 6,700,000 vehicles for a motor mount failure, and at the time, it was the largest voluntary safety recall in automotive history. Go ahead and let it roll, Jeff. In automotive history, and this is that pretty standard motor mount. Well, the rubber would break in the middle, so they recalled them. And then in 2015, Takata said, "Hold my beer and watch this." After Takata has now gone 20 million plus. Yeah. In 1979, the last Pacer, AMC Pacer, rolled off the assembly line, and I thought the wagon was truly one of the ugliest vehicles ever produced. But beside the point. In 1996, Volkswagen executive Jose Ignacio Lopez resigned from Volkswagen under charges of industrial espionage as he left General Motors and brought 3 senior executives and lots of secrets with him over to Volkswagen. That's this week in automotive history.
Thank you. All right. Couple of.
Did you ever own a Pacer?
No, I did not. Anita Martini did, though. And really? I always made fun of her car.
With a name like Anita Martini, and you're making fun of her car?
Matter of fact, the Martini is still a big family down in Galveston.
Are they?
So don't be a wise guy. You drive through Galveston. We'll tell them what your truck looks like.
My bad.
Yes, Anita Martini. I worked with her for many, many years. She died of brain cancer, but she was a sports lady and the first woman allowed in a professional locker room.
I remember the name. I didn't realize that was her call to fame.
Yes, and she drove that ugly car. Amazon Web Services and BlackBerry announced Tuesday a joint data platform that could guide automakers and third-party developers in personalizing and improving cloud-connected vehicles. You know what that means? That means that Big Brother is watching everything that you drive.
Yes, and listening to everything you say.
Amazon Web Services, or AWS, and BlackBerry said in a statement that they were creating a scalable, cloud-connected software platform coined BlackBerry Ivy to address challenges with automotive data access, collection, and management.
So they're just going to mail me a speeding ticket.
Ivy's development will take place under a multi-year global agreement. The intelligent vehicle data platform will allow automakers to provide a consistent and secure way to read vehicle sensor data, normalize it, whatever that means, and create actionable insights from that data, both locally in the vehicle and in the cloud.
Mail me a ticket.
Exactly.
Well, you got to remember, GM's OnStar, they read data while you're driving down the highway.
When I read that, I thought, well, there we go. That's the end of that.
Poison ivy.
Pretty much. Tesla will be added to the Standard & Poor's 500 Index in one shot on December 21st, a move that will ripple through the entire market as money managers adjust their portfolios to make room for shares of the $538 billion company. The EV maker stands to become the seventh biggest company in S&P 500 at its current market value, falling between Berkshire Hathaway and Visa. The stock, which closed at a record high on Friday, is up about 578% this year. Tesla's market capitalization is larger than any other company had at its debut in the S&P 500. Berkshire Hathaway previously held that record. It was worth about $127 billion when it was included in the index back in 2010.
I should have bought more.
No kidding.
I should have bought. Well, you heard all three General Motors full-size SUVs in 2021 are going to offer the 3-liter turbocharged Duramax diesel. So the Tahoe, Yukon, and Escalade will all offer the little diesel.
Which, by the way, I think is interesting, and I should have printed out the story, but I didn't. But the story basically said, it was a German story, that German diesel sales, now this is, the pinnacle of diesels come from Germany.
Yeah,
right?
Real big over in the Europe world.
The diesel market has gone straight down the toilet in the past, this year.
So just in time for General Motors to reintroduce it to the United States.
That's exactly
Thank you very much. One of the stories I skipped in this week in Automotive News was the end of the production of the Oldsmobile diesel.
Oh, I had one of those.
In 1986.
Help us all.
Well, General Motors' Mary Barra has also announced that GM's going to offer 30 different all-electric vehicles by the end of 2025. And with that, 4 out of every 10 vehicles offered by General Motors is going to be pure electric. Now they're going to also put them in the Houston, Texas press fleet just to build on Don's range anxiety.
Great. Lawyers for former Reynolds & Reynolds CEO Bob Brockman want a judge to move the federal tax evasion and wire fraud case against him here to Texas, citing Brockman's declining health as a factor. He's 79, lives in Houston, and prosecutors allege he created an elaborate offshore scheme over 2 decades to evade taxes on $2 billion on income from Reynolds & Reynolds, which is a company that pretty much handles dealership software. So
Correct.
That's the motive tie there. Okay, we're going to wrap up today's show here on the In Wheel Time program right after a quick break. Stay with us.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy a Lupi Tortilla breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, December 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one place. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a 3-hour friends and family event. The Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at the Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too, and you're invited to join us. We'll see you there. Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com.
Well, that's it for this episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. And when you're on Facebook, please give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk. You'll get Conrad's unicorn hunting features along with all things automotive all week long. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on pretty much every podcast platform known to man, including Pandora, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Special thanks to all of our guests today. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our video sales and marketing man is Jeffrey Zekin. This week's In Wheel Time Car Show is produced and directed by Sonny Look. For booking agent and podcast man Mike out of this world Mars is royalty, King Conrad DeLong. I'm Don Armstrong saying so long for now. We hope that you'll join us on our next live show next Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to noon Central Time right here on the Smoke and Mirrors Network. Thanks for being part of the In Wheel Time family. Mask up and stay healthy. Good night.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday, 9:30 a.m. to noon Central on Facebook, YouTube, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.